person jumping in here. Mike, you ready? Okay, first question will be Ira Schofel from Wartan on your right.
Hey Gilbert, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What about yourself?
Good to meet you. What's the transition been like so far? I mean, I know it's a new school in,
Yeah.
in the middle of the year, but you're coming back to your home state, and
Yeah.
there's some familiar faces. Just
Yeah.
how have the first few weeks been for you?
Yeah. At first it was kind of pretty difficult just because I've never like transferred like before. Like I've never transferred schools, period. Like elementary school, middle school, high school. So it was kind of different just going from like somewhere that you got so used to and then coming to somewhere like this. But like you said, because it was like the home state, it's kind of some guys that I already knew here and stuff like that. It made the transition more easy.
We'll go to Aslan Hajavandi from Wartan in the back.
What have been your first impressions of off-season conditioning, and like what station or coach has like been the most grueling, I guess, for you so far?
So the off-season conditioning so far, I knocked down like one tour duty already, and then it's pretty legit. You know what I'm saying? These guys, they work really hard here, so that's my first impression of that. You know what I'm saying? These guys get after it. As far as the coaches, I mean, they're all on you pretty good. But Mike, Coach Norvell, he looks like he's on it all the time.
We'll go to Chris Neef from Knowles 247 on your left.
Hey Gilbert, obviously FSU's had transfer D and success in recent years. How much did that play into your decision? And also, what have you asked Jared Burse about how he made the transition a year ago?
Yeah, so the development at defensive line it played a huge role because at this point in my career, I wanted to go somewhere where I felt like I could get developed a lot more. So seeing the success that they've had, developing guys like Kier that came from South Carolina, or Jermaine Johnson and then Jared Burse, it intrigued me, and I felt like I want to be the next one to, you know what I'm saying, make that step.
All right, we'll stay over there for Zach.
What was the transfer process like for you, kind of entering the portal and taking multiple visits, and why ultimately was it Florida State?
Yeah, so when I first entered the transfer portal, it was pretty hectic. You know, there were a lot of coaches reaching out. So I kind of just took a step back, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really talk to anyone until like a day. And then I kind of like just seen the schools that I could see myself at, and I kind of narrowed it down that way. And ultimately when I took the visits, Florida State it felt right. So, you know what I'm saying? They had the plan for me, and I seen the vision. And so I decided that Florida State was the spot.
All right, we'll come over here, front row on the right to Kurt Weiler from the Osceola.
I think I remember Jaheim. I know he transferred before you. I think he tweeted at you while you were in the portal, kind of trying to convince you to join him. I guess, what did he kind of pitch you on? And I guess how much does that kind of help? I mean, going to the new place, like you said, and knowing someone and the comfort level there.
Yeah, when I entered the portal, Jaheim reached out to me, and he was like, "Come on, man, Florida State's the place to go." And I mean, you know, I was like, I was open ears, so I wanted to hear him out, and he was just basically telling me like, whatever these guys is pitching to you, like they're legit and they're very truthful and they're very like honest people, and that's what I'm about.
All right, next question will come from Zoom. It'll be Jerry Cutts from the Osceola.
Considering colleges to transfer to, what were the key things you looked at this time around that maybe you hadn't looked at coming out of high school?
So coming out of high school, I wasn't really heavily recruited. So, but also at the same time, I wasn't into all like the big, all that flashy stuff. So this time coming around, whenever I got in the portal, I kind of took it as more of a business approach rather than just, you know, like going to that big name school that, you know what I'm saying, they got all these things going on. I kind of just had to sit there and think about what would be the best spot for me personally, and not just like what would sound good, what would seem like a good fit, whatever they were pitching. You know what I'm saying? It was just more about like, could I see myself going there, being developed, and becoming a more complete defensive end?
All right, we'll go back to Ira from Wartan, second row on your right.
So going back to your high school days, you were a wide receiver and a hurdler in track. Do you still feel like that guy when you're going up against 300-pound offensive linemen, or is it more natural now? in the trenches?
I feel like I definitely attained a lot of that, like track and playing those other sports and being at a different position. It definitely conditioned me to be more athletic. I feel like I've been able to hold a lot of that athleticism that I had running track and doing all that other stuff. So, I mean, there's definitely a level of like where you feel like you're more athletic than the person you're going up against, so that gives you an advantage. But you definitely have to, be more, like you said, it's in the trenches, so you definitely have to be more physical with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, our receiver's not that physical position. There's no physicality in track, so I had to, gain that aspect of the game as well. So, but yeah, like you said, I feel like track and like playing wide receiver definitely gave myself more of a mental edge whenever I was going up against like bigger dudes.
We'll go back to your left for Zach.
I guess, what kind of plan did they outline, Coach Fuller and Coach Norvell, for how they plan to utilize you within the defensive scheme?
So whenever I was talking with them, they see me like although I have a lot of physical athleticism, they see me more of like a true defensive end, and that's where I felt like I would flourish as well, instead of being like going somewhere and being like a stand-up outside linebacker and things like that. So just showing me their scheme and then me looking at it and being like, this is what I wanted to play, and then I feel like I could do the things that they're asking me to do at this position. It kind of felt like natural, and that's what I was going based off of.
We'll come back to Kurt, front row to your right.
I know you've only been here a few weeks. I guess, how have you started building relationships with guys in that defensive end room with you? And I mean, having so many guys who have experience from Jared, Pat, Peyton, Derek McClendon, how much does that help, just having that depth and knowing that kind of you have so many guys who will be able to relieve you and go harder, maybe not play as many reps?
Whenever you got guys that play as hard and as good as they do, it definitely gives you like some relief, and those guys are amazing. They already took me in and stuff like that. The first couple of days I came on campus, especially D-Mac, he came in, started showing me the ropes of how things go around here. So whenever you have guys that are like genuine people and they are good football players, it's always good to have those type of people around.
Okay, we'll go back to Ira, second row to your right.
Growing up in the state, you obviously were aware of Florida State. They have been struggling the last few years. During last season, I know you were busy with your own season, but were you aware that Florida State was kind of having a turnaround and having some success? Or did you learn that once you got into the portal?
I kind of wasn't focused on it too much, I was trying to just do my own little thing in South Carolina. Florida State, that's the home state team, so I was always rooting for them to be good wherever they were doing, but I kind of wasn't too focused on that.
Go back to Aslan in the back.
Gilbert, you sort of mentioned the intensity of the coaches, the coaching staff, and the all-season stuff. What's it just like being around that? Has it caught you by surprise? Is it a refreshing thing? How do you like being around a team that seems to be so focused and so dialed in?
Being around guys like that, especially the coaches, it's not nothing new to me, because that's how they were at South Carolina. So just knowing that the guys that I'm coming to somewhere and they're still having that same attention to detail and that same type of intensity, it just brings me more comfort into what type of people they are and how hard they work.
And just, for you individually, it's a team game obviously, but I guess you can kind of maybe blend both of those. But what will a successful transfer for you, and what will the result, what will it look like for you if this works out for you successful?
How would it look out for me if successfully? Just me being more complete at my game, having some things that I need to work on in my game, like pass rushing wise, run stopping. So if I see like the improvement in that would be success for me, really.
Okay, we'll come back to Ira on your right.
You mentioned it being important that Florida State sees you as a defensive end and that's what you want to play.
Yeah.
Were other schools considering you more as like an outside linebacker, or do you feel like people question whether or not you can be a defensive end, or where's that kind of mindset?
Yeah, a lot of schools that run like the 3-4 outside linebacker, they kind of see me as more of like a stand-up, just because of how athletic I am and my ability to run in space and stuff like that. And that's cool and all, but I just felt more comfortable that I wanted to be
back to Zoom for Jerry Cutts from the Osceola.
For Ron, Steve, your story about you, what are some of the things about yourself that our readers might find interesting off the football field?
Some things that readers might be interested in. Well, I got a couple things about myself that not too many people know about. Like, I played a lot of sports, growing up. So, and football so happened to be like the last sport that I ended up playing. Like, so I played baseball, soccer, ran track, played baseball and stuff like that. I even skateboarded for 10 years. That's what a lot of people don't know. I skateboarded for 10 years. So just that I'm pretty much like and I played the piano, I played the trombone, trumpet, and baritone. Those are some little things that I'm proud of myself in, being able to have picked up on that. A lot of people know.
Last one, we'll go to Ira.
I was gonna ask if there's any defensive ends you kind of pattern yourself off after, but also any skateboarders that you admire.
I mean, I try not to compare myself to anybody. I just kind of I'll take some things that I see guys do really well, and I'll try to incorporate that into my game. But I don't try to mold it and be like, I want to play like this person, or I want to try to be like this person, do the same things. I like to have my own little spin on things.
All right, thanks, Gilbert.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.